Hello, everyone. Straight from the Fortress of Solitude, it's the off-brand Superman, Marquez Christopher Eason.
And cruising the galaxy in a lazy boy with a cold one and remote. It's your captain, Chris with a K.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Jess coming at you, back from a long hiatus. Glad to be back.
I have the need for speed, and this is your host, Carlos in the house. You guys, we will do the Top Gun review and Top Gun Maverick. We're going to do a little introduction here. We will give away 2 tickets for the new Jurassic Park movie, so stay tuned, and we'll tell you what you got to do to get those tickets. And also, we will talk about in depth the upcoming movies that we will be addressing. But for now, we will talk about Top Gun. Let's go ahead and take a quick pause and thank our following sponsors.
Hey guys, it's Chris with a K coming at you to let you know about a couple of my favorite podcasts, Silver Cosmos Movie Review and Wichita Vice. Join us in Silver Cosmos as we go in-depth analysis and galaxy-expanding reviews, and also Wichita Vice as we dig deep into all of our favorite comic book and sci-fi characters and storylines. Again, that's Silver Cosmos Movie Review and Wichita Vice.
All right, you guys, so 30 years in the making, finally, we're going to talk about Top Gun. The need for speed.
Yeah, guys.
Danger Zone.
I feel we should hum the main theme, guys. We should all do that. And
The Highway to the Danger Zone? Or
no, just the...
Oh, at the beginning, and then there was Top Gun.
Yeah.
Are you trying to get us sued by the copyright infringement? I don't want to make upset one of the producers out there. Be like, hey, did you hear those guys at Silver Cosmos?
That tone.
Yeah, I love that like bong bong.
Yes.
Bong sound.
Bum, bum.
Maybe we'll have our team kind of get that figured out. But let's go ahead. Let's get it started, you guys. So let's start off with Top Gun. It debuted in May of 1986. It's starring Tom Cruise, Kelly McGillis, Val Kilmer, Tom Skerritt, Michael Ironside.
Yeah.
So the budget consists. Oh yeah, it's been a while. It was a budget of $15 million, and it made $357 million in the box office, and it was directed by Tony Scott. Okay, I'm gonna start this off with you, Chris. Tell me a little bit about Top Gun. What's it about?
Oh man, fighter pilots, dog fight. There's the same blip happens in both the movies there right at the beginning where it describes what Top Gun is. And I believe Top Gun is a real Air Force, it's Navy fighter pilots, not Air Force.
You're going to make the Navy
I know. You want to say Air Force because they're in planes, but no, this is the Navy. And it's the Navy fighter pilots, and it's the best of the best. That's what they say. And the original one, man, it just gives me goosebumps even thinking about it when he's flying with Goose there at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I really love because the F-14s, they were a dual pilot system. You had your main pilot and then the WSO, the weapon system.
The sound radar
guy. And so, of course, you have Goose playing that to Mavericks. And Goose was the more level-headed, but you see that Goose is also kind of a crazy guy that fits so well. That's why they fit so well together.
Yeah.
And then Maverick is the Maverick. I mean, he's wild. He's flying by he's doing flybys on the
carrier.
on the carrier. Yeah, there at the beginning they're getting the international salute. What was the international hello salute or whatever? Yeah. Where he gives the MiG the finger.
Yeah,
this is a great time, especially
that's just like the first 30 minutes.
In our history, it goes during the Cold War era. You know that it was against the former Soviet Union, and what do you know? It's kind of back, at it.
Well, and just in general, the reason Top Gun even existed was that they saw that after the events, like in the I think Korean War, they saw that they were losing a lot more fighter pilots. They were relying too much on the plane and newer technology and not knowing how to handle the plane and really dogfight. And that's where Maverick excelled and the Top Gun people excelled. And so that's why Top Gun even exists today, is for that fighter pilot experience, to really have the best fighter pilots in the world, no matter what.
And they paid tribute to that. And what Top Gun was technically based off an article that they did. And so, like they said, what happens is that in the Navy, the pilots, they all gather up. They get the top level pilots, and they go in that program. And once you qualify and you're done, you are a Top Gun.
Yeah.
So that's So the more power and respect to the Navy pilots out there that do that. So let's just dive in a little bit on the characters itself. So we already got Maverick. Maverick's on the forefront, and Goose. But let's talk about my favorite character real quick. Iceman.
Of course.
Yeah.
How do I know
Val
you're going to
Kilmer.
say that?
Yeah.
I've always been an Iceman fan. It's Val
Can you do
Kilmer.
that?
He's the
Yeah.
dude.
The jaw chomp
Yeah.
there. With the,
He's
Yeah. With the gun.
and then
Yeah.
with the haircut.
I mean, he thought he was a badass.
oh,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was, man.
Yeah,
Cold
he
as
was
ice.
the ice. That's how he got his call sign.
That's
Ice
just how
in his
that's how
veins.
my heart is. It's just cold.
Yeah.
I mean, I can
That's
see that just looking at you. You have like a cold look about you.
It's the
Yeah.
energy drink. I mean,
It's something.
but let's talk about the parameter of the movie itself. So in this time, so you've got the 80s was just rocking right now with the
Yeah.
movies, and the thing is Jerry Bruckheimer, of course, successful producer, got this together. Tony Scott looked at the script. This is great, but did you guys know that Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer were not sure they wanted to do this movie? They weren't. They didn't know if they should have jumped on or not. I mean, you already got some stars already in there. In Tom Skerritt, of course, Tom Skerritt,
Yeah.
he's a veteran. Him and Michael Ironside, and also you got some upcoming artists as well. I knew he
Kelly
knew
McGillis?
Kelly McGillis.
Yeah.
They were doing this great. The movie fitted in its theme, but let's just
Well,
for
and
the
you had
newer
some-
hold on, Chris. For the newer audience, I want you guys to explain what makes before they go see Maverick, or if they already did, what makes so far this movie unique and special.
Top Gun itself. I think it's really the relationship between the characters. I mean, you have Goose. Well, and don't forget Meg Ryan played Goose's wife. I don't recall her name, the character's name.
Irrelevant, but okay.
Yeah. And you also, I mean, sorry, I lost my track trying to think of the character's name.
Well, if I may, I mean, for me, Top Gun is a lot of things to a lot of people, but for me, it's basically about pushing yourself above and beyond the Call of Duty. I mean, I think we like it as moviegoers. We like to see characters who have flaws, and that's what grounds them. But then ultimately, they do something amazing in spite of their flaws. I think this movie personifies that. That's what Top Gun. As a kid, it didn't really resonate with me, but it speaks to me now a lot as an adult.
Well, and it really
that
did when you
aspect of it.
talk about flaws. Like, I mean, it really hit hard as you possibly could when he essentially feels like he killed Goose.
Yeah, and that part kind of just really, like I say, as a kid, I was just like, oh no.
That's sad.
But now it's like, ooh.
Yeah, because I
Right.
think didn't
And-
the cockpit actually malfunction? And that's why
it did, but they
hit
got
up
into that
and
situation because Maverick was being Maverick.
Yeah.
He was.
He
Flying
got in a
without
tussle with Iceman and got
Yeah.
caught in his
The
wake,
canopy,
wake
the
or-
Yeah.
So when
and
they
they lost control and started spinning.
Exactly. And that was just, and from a narrative point of view, that was great writing. But
Oh, yeah.
when you're inside, but from the inside in the movie, I really do, like I say now, it made me think like, man, what if that was me? Because when I watch movies, I try to put myself in the main character's position.
Sure.
That makes me, that brings up the enjoyment level a little bit more. And I thought, man, if that was not, like say one of you guys, was in the cockpit with me, I'd be like, oh.
Why do I got to be in there? Can I be the flight? I'd like to fly.
No, Carlos, I'm Maverick. Okay,
No, you can be Maverick. I told you I'm Iceman, bro.
When he does, I mean, he winds
Yeah.
up quitting because
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
Like,
even
he
though
does
was
go
found
down as
not
far
guilty.
down.
Yeah, even though he was found not guilty. Yeah.
Well, and everyone said, it wasn't your fault. There's nothing you could do. It's kind of a canopy malfunction,
Yeah.
but without saying it, everybody knows it. Well, and it's the risk they all know that's the risk they take every time they go up there, and I think that's part of the cool thing about this movie is that it is such a real, this is a real organization. Guys do die, flying planes from the Top Gun, getting involved in stuff that happens with. So I think that's one of the draws to it. And I remembered what I was going to say earlier is I think part of the thing that was going on with this is you had Iron Eagle was out by then.
Yeah.
Which was a great fighter pilot kind of story with it was just I don't want to get into that one.
You
too
lost
much.
me at part 4, part 5, part
Yeah,
6.
no, well,
It just got to
that
where
was
it's
that
just like,
late
oh.
80s.
He had a trilogy
everything.
on top set. The
Yeah.
first one is always the best one. Iron Eagle.
Man, my
was,
favorite
too.
favorite show, the '80s, is Airwolf. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
guys.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, so you had
The stealth helicopter.
when you have all these air attacks and air things were getting very big and powerful, and
There
the
was
tech
a lot.
was really
There was a
so
lot of.
Yeah.
it was all really, really cool and new. And the B-2 comes out in the early '90s, and the stealth
Yeah.
bomber, and so there was all these advancements coming about. And I think that's one of the things that led Top Gun to even being a movie consideration. Like, oh yeah, and then
No one talks about the aviator glasses. Tom Cruise rocked it on those aviators.
oh, they all did, man.
I mean, that was a
Yeah.
thing.
Him
They
and
all
Iceman.
did.
Now, and Iceman, but no, Tom Cruise. That
Oh,
part,
yeah.
I give it to Maverick, and also
the
to
aviator glasses and the leather jacket
Let's-
with the
with
the
all
bomber
of his
jacket,
patches.
the
Oh,
patches.
yeah.
Yeah.
But let's talk
And his
about
Kawasaki
the soundtrack. Let's talk about the
Yes.
sound. Now let's dive in a little bit on that
Yeah.
for the people that care about the music. Here's the deal: the soundtrack alone, the soundtrack alone, it scored an Academy Award for the best original song with Berlin, "Take My Breath Away." Look at all,
Oh, I
especially
forgot that.
you can never fail with Kenny Loggins. The Danger Zone.
Yeah.
Who can forget about that?
Man,
The
that was-
Danger Zone. But here's the thing that I did some researching. Did you know that some of the artists that wanted to be in the soundtrack didn't make it through? You have Bryan Adams,
Wow.
Toto, REO Speedwagon,
Toto.
and Corey Hart. They
Huh.
were trying to get in, didn't do it, so they just went ahead and took Kenny Loggins because he said, "Okay, fine, let's do it." And this is the guy he did already Caddyshack.
Yeah,
I'm all
that's
right.
right.
I mean,
Footloose.
he's done multiple and Footloose, so he's already an established going there.
Composer.
But Berlin. Now here's the part. We know that song is part with. It's the scene with Tom Cruise and with Charlie and Maverick together.
Yeah.
And so, if that song suits, every time you hear that song, you just think of Top Gun.
Top Gun,
It's
yeah.
always,
Yep,
and then
you're
of
right.
course when it's Danger Zone, you think it's Top Gun as well.
Yeah.
So
I
what
don't
was
know
your?
why you wouldn't think that.
Yeah.
Hey, it is what it is. I mean, it's just that song. You hear it.
I know.
I know. Especially our guy here, Marquez here. He's a he's a bodybuilder lifter here. I know on his last set he puts on Danger Zone. I'm putting the secret out, you guys. This guy right here.
I do.
He's got
listen
that
to-
last set.
That's when he starts
Yeah.
going heavy.
I do listen to 80s rock while I'm working out, but no, I think if you listen to Danger Zone while you're driving, you will get a ticket.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he'd be like, should I push the limit? Like,
Yeah.
just drive.
Because that's what
Don't
the song
think.
is about. Yeah, that's what it's about. The last time I played that while I was driving, I was like, oh no, slow down. So, because it just makes you want to just
I
go.
like that.
and
I like
go
that
and
character,
go.
Yeah.
Tom Skerritt, that plays the commander. How he gets all upset with Tom Cruise. I know he's like, I just want to just kick him off, but I can't.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for the audience, Tom Skerritt has been playing a lot of movies. One of my favorite Tom Skerritt movies he did was he played Dallas in the first movie of Alien back in 1970. So
Oh
Yeah,
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 that is
that's
true.
right.
he
yeah.
had a lot of stuff in the 70s and 80s.
So
Yeah.
just saying,
Very, very
if you want to do your
busy.
research on him, that's
that's
it.
the guy. Man.
And then we will
Michael
go,
Ironside though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean he's been in a ton of sci-fi.
yeah,
Oh yes.
and he's the
Uh,
voice of Sam Fisher in the Splinter Cell game.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Was it Arnold Schwarzenegger on Mars? What was that called?
Total Recall.
Total
Total
Recall.
Recall.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was the main
Okay,
villain.
He
you
played
ready?
Richter. I remember. See you
Yeah,
at the
Richter.
party, Richter. He ripped his
Exactly.
Here, I'm gonna throw you guys a curveball here. You remember him in Highlander 2? He was the villain in Highlander
Oh
2.
yeah. Man, that's right. That's right. I
Yes.
totally forgot about
See,
that.
if you want to joust with me, let's go for it. But I will find when there is a will, there is a way.
That's
Because,
right,
like I
yeah.
said, I have the need for speed. So let's go ahead and move on a little bit. Let's talk about now the plot itself. The plot is pretty self-explanatory. We get
Yeah.
it. Now, let's talk about the positives. What makes the movie worth watching? Chris already has elaborated. Jesse, what did you like about watching the original movie? Do you remember a little bit?
Man, it's been a long time, but I think just training in the Top Gun school, and then putting that forward into so basically training to go into combat.
Okay.
I guess is
Yeah.
Marquez?
I like, for me, within the movie, like I said, it's a movie's about getting things done, giving it your best and going beyond, what the limits everyone has set for you. But one of the things I liked about the original movie was the fact that, instead of all the pilots trying to one-up each other, they come to realize that is a fleeting source of validation. And then they started to think, hey, why not try to figure out how we're all connected? Why not rely on our connections? It took them losing someone to get to that point, but
A heavy
That's one
loss,
of the,
yeah.
yeah, that's one of the things I like.
And I want to
about it.
piggyback on that, Marquez. That's awesome. One of my favorite parts of that movie was when Iceman and Maverick squashed that beef.
Yeah.
And he goes, "You can be my wingman." I was like, "Oh man,
That
hit home. That hit home." I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." So
Yeah.
so when we hit when we're lifting weights one, I'm gonna say,
Yeah.
"Hey,
Yeah.
you could be my trainer."
Yeah, and then that'll be
And then we'll throw on some Kenny Loggins. But how about you, Chris?
I mean, just the whole movie for me is great from beginning to end. I love the opening scenes of the fight. Well, I gotta say, for me, it's the fight, the jet time, the time behind the cockpit that they did, because I think like they said in the first one about the second one, a lot of that was live action, like really. They were pulling those G's. They were pulling on the
man.
stick. So
Yeah, I believe they actually did, they set up cameras in the cockpits. I
oh
believe.
yeah, yeah.
And a lot of they did themselves. Because I was watching, went and saw a movie before Maverick, and Tom Cruise had it was like a trailer for Maverick, and he was
Right.
saying how they trained in small planes first and then worked their way up to bigger planes.
Yeah.
and-
So for me, it really is that fighter pilot sensation that it gives you, because they do. I think the old movie as well as the new one both do a very good job. Obviously, the new one has some more tech, but I really like the fighter pilot aspect.
Yeah.
Just the flying, man. It's so
keeps
awesome.
you on your seat, man. You're just
the
like,
whole
"Oh,
time,
God,
even
no."
in training. Like they're
Yeah.
just training, but you're just like, are they gonna do it? Is he gonna get him? Is he gonna get tone? Is he gonna get lock on?
Yeah.
Now in the movie itself, let's just break it off with the arrogance of Tom Cruise in the first movie.
Well, he thought
That's
he was
what
hot shit.
Yeah, and that it's typical now that you look at it. But when we were younger here, when we watched it, I was like, oh, he's cool. As you get older, you're just kind of like, oh, dude, he's so arrogant. And then
Yeah.
you find that guy that can one up you, and there goes that envy. But here's the thing. I know for all the people that got their soft hearts, they're in their feelings. I know when they were that scene when Charlie and Maverick were together. I know you guys were in your feelings when they played "Take My Breath Away." I know it. It's okay. We're not here to
Yeah.
judge you. I just want you to know we know.
breath away.
See, there goes copy infringement right there.
I mean, take my heart away.
I don't think that was quite the.
There was when you watch Hot Shots. Remember that movie Hot
Yeah,
Shots?
part
with
two.
Charlie
Yes.
Sheen
Oh
was-
man, that was
Stomach grill.
just made me want to go run to Denny's. I was like, man, I do want a slammer, breakfast.
Bacon.
But
Yeah, that
but
was
no,
good.
I like the scene too when the Tomcat was flying and he was on his ninja motorcycle and he was just going.
Oh yeah.
And then also the fact, just how like the sequence was just quick. It didn't drag. It didn't take too long. And then you had that pause when Goose died and everyone's kind of in their feelings. And then no one talks about Meg Ryan in there, because Meg Ryan, she's still a elite actress, but her role there was just basic. It's just okay. She's Goose's
Yeah.
wife. She's close to Maverick, and they're a family. And we'll talk later on about the son going on in the
I
next
think
show.
that was probably her biggest movie at that point.
What about that volleyball exercise?
yeah.
To
We were all
try
in
to
it.
bring the team together.
I think all
was
the
part of
ladies of
that.
that time are still talking about that scene.
Hey,
All the dudes out there just flexing every scene. All
I knew Tom Cruise was
ripping-
flexing those triceps because that was just too much of a
Toned up
flex.
and-
When
Yeah,
hit the-
he
and-
did. Yeah, you
got
could
the- he's
tell.
got
They
the,
were- they were
he's got
all
the horseshoe
ripped,
going on
man.
his.
dude,
Yeah, oiled up and
Everyone.
everything.
I mean,
Yeah.
just. But I mean, you're talking about the elite of the elite, and it's not. I mean, you're not in a. Yeah, they're sitting behind the wheel of a stick, or the stick of a plane, but
They gotta-
they
they
got
gotta
to be in shape to do what they're doing.
tip top shape because you're pulling those G's.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're fat, you just
that's what I. Well, I will get about it in the.
All
Maverick
right, so
stuff.
okay, now let's talk about the cons. What is something that you didn't care for the movie? I'll start it off. To me, one of the things was it took too long for Tom Cruise to get that redemption mode going. Charlie's trying to amp him up, like, hey, everything's gonna be fine. And then Iceman, I know all the Iceman haters were like, they're just giving him too much time because he was proving a point. But I like what Marquez said a while back. It helped with Goose passing away. It really helped the team to get back together. So that's what made the movie much better. The second half,
Yeah.
especially when they went into the fight scene, the dog fight scene,
Yeah.
and they were just working together on that. That was the part. I think it took just a little too long. But other than that, that's the cons. We're not talking about the pros, but we're just talking about the cons on that. What about you, Marquez?
I would have liked to have seen some different types of aircraft. You know, our military, we have so many different types of, you know, maybe naval at the time. Maybe that was
they
just
still
the,
had A-10s and
yeah, the A-10s.
F-18s and
I don't know if that
17s
was
and
a
15s.
thing back then, but just I thought that would have been like some different types of missions.
The
like
Tomcat was a cool plane.
Yeah, I know, but I also was it the SR-71 Blackbird out back then? I know that's not a naval aircraft; it's too big, but that was always.
But
my
you got to
favorite.
understand too, at that time, maybe the budget wise, because we know that budget wise, they were writing the military hefty checks.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
every
was
time they said-
around the time. That was
And
the-
then Tom Cruise and them were not flying in that first one. We don't want to give it away yet, but
Yeah.
they weren't doing it. So I get
No.
your point. Now that we're looking at it now,
Yeah.
maybe before they could have involved anything else, or at least had an Apache or something fly around.
or something.
I don't know, do
I would have
something.
liked to have
Yeah,
seen it.
Airwolf, bro. I'm saying.
Yeah,
Stealth
but I mean,
helicopter.
and don't get me wrong, that's a nitpick, but that's that's the only thing I could really think because I enjoyed it.
How about you, Chris?
Man, I'm trying to think of some negatives. I don't have much. That was such a, and maybe it was just such a big part of my younger times, but man, I loved just about every part of that movie.
No.
If I'd have had better eyes, I would have tried to become a fighter pilot.
Anyways, Jesse,
Well,
I'm kidding you, Chris.
No, I know.
it's been a long time. Like I don't remember a whole lot from it, but from what I remember, it was a great movie. I don't think I had any. Well, obviously.
How about
I was
the like
younger,
you
so-
lost that love and feeling scene?
Oh,
That
when
was
they-
so awesome.
Oh,
Like, I
and then the
can't
Great
think of a
Balls of
bad
Fire.
one.
Great Balls of
The
Fire,
Great Balls
you know?
of Fire one was
Yeah.
a great scene.
When he's
Yeah.
playing in the piano with his
Yeah.
kid, and Mav
And
was
Meg-
there,
and Meg
then,
Ryan.
Meg Ryan was there. They were having the time of their life,
Yeah.
in that diner.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was
You know.
great.
Yeah, they were just
It
out
was just,
hanging out.
Just great stuff all around. And I loved it.
Well, all right. So real quick, we're gonna discuss about giving the stars review on that. But let's go ahead and take a quick pause and give a following thank you to our following sponsors.
Hey guys, why don't you check out She Barber Cuts Barbershop and give Markeisha Brown, the licensed professional barber there, a call at 316-218-3566 for all your haircut needs. She's got cuts for kids, adults, and for those who are looking for the good one, the deluxe with beard trims, wash, and hot towels. So don't forget to give Markeisha a call at She Barber Cuts and see her at 2319 North Ridge, Barber Suite 6A, here in Wichita, Kansas.
Jesse, do you want to introduce our new segment break, giving the star reviews, please?
Well, yeah, we're in JNC's Silver Star Review.
Silver Star reviews, you guys. So here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give our review and like and subscribe, and tell us what movie you would like us to do a review on, and we'll get that in. So the drawing, Marquez, is pretty simple. We will draw it out, and we will give you tickets to go see a movie. So you don't have to go see. So the one we're going to be promoting next is Jurassic Park, and then Thor is going to be the big one that we're going to do. So eventually, get on there. So 2 tickets. Get on a date. I don't know. With your significant other, your best friend, or make it up to somebody. I don't know.
Walk up to a stranger and
Yeah, or to
wanna go watch a movie?
Want to go watch a movie? Okay.
Hey, you want to go see Thor? I don't know.
I don't know you,
Someone
but
will
here,
say
bro.
yes.
Make your first move here. So, but we want to first of all say thank you to She Cuts Barbers over there at 2319 North Ridge Road here in Wichita, Kansas. Make your appointment with Keisha at 316-218-3566. So thank you, Keisha, for sponsoring us. So I'm going to start this off with you, Marquez. How many stars you give Top Gun?
3.5
3.5. That's
out of 4.
okay.
Yeah.
Chris.
I'm going to go with 4. For me, it was
4. 4 for me, big dog.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3.5 as well. So overall, it's going to be a 3.5. I just feel that in that time, I mean, the 80s was a phenomenal time to have movies. I mean, they're coming off. Yes, by the way, behind the scenes, we have Eric. He did the math, and it's 3.75. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. We will give you credit for that. It's a great time. And like I said, to the audience that's watching the movies, Top Gun is one of those movies you got to watch. We highly suggest it. So that's our
Absolutely.
take on it. Now let's go ahead and move on over to the new Top Gun Maverick.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited. All right, so we combined two movies into one here, so let's go ahead and dive in. So Top Gun Maverick debuted on May 27th of this year of 2022, and it's also starring Tom Cruise, Val Kilmer, Ed Morris, John Hamm, and Jennifer Connelly. So their budget, first of all, their budget was at $170 million, and they made $596 and counting. In counting.
That's a big one.
So here now it's the 30 years in the making, and Jerry Bruckheimer said, hey, we need to make this happen. Tom Cruise and him were both in the talks of bringing Top Gun back, and just during the unfortunate times of COVID and getting that all worked out, it was just delayed. I'm thankful. Thank you, Tom Cruise, from Silver Cosmo Reviews, for saying, no, we're not going to just put it on TV. We need it in the theaters. So thank you. Appreciate you. So we know it was directed by Joseph Kosinski. Are you familiar with his movies? Bolivian. He worked with Tom Cruise in Bolivian, and also who's the one that played Goose's son with Teller?
Miles Teller.
Miles Teller. They did also a movie together. So putting two minds together, got them in. But I am glad they brought in some newer characters. So let's go ahead and talk about the characters first. So we know Maverick is back. Tom Cruise is back. Val Kilmer. Tom Cruise, I want to say thank you again also for pushing to bring Val Kilmer back. That is admirable of you. I appreciate that you didn't just want to just take the whole lead with it. He's changed. Tom Cruise has become a different type of character, and he's really focused on making sure a movie is how it's supposed to be, especially with the Mission Impossibles. And I appreciate you doing that for Val Kilmer. We know Val Kilmer has been battling with his health and everything, and just for him to just be able to be in the movie, that was just awesome.
It was.
Yeah. So thank you on that. So let's just go ahead and dive into it. So Chris, tell me a little bit about Top Gun Maverick.
Well, we've got Top Gun again. So
Really?
they start off again with that little
great.
blurb similar to the first one about what Top Gun the school is.
Explains it.
Of course,
yeah.
we know, as we talked before, it's the school for the elite of the elite dog fighters. But now this one, it's called Maverick, so obviously it's about Maverick and what he's gone through in the last 30 years. So I really, really enjoyed it. And just seeing the way they brought him into, I thought it was neat. I thought putting him into a test pilot role, because we haven't really been at war in so long, especially in a dogfighting role, which he excelled at. So I thought seeing him as a test pilot, really, I was like, oh yeah, Mav is out there trying to pull whatever Mach 10 or whatever.
Mach 10.
Warp speed.
Well, he was actually, they're going for Mach 8.
9.
No, Mach 9, and then
they were like at the last minute.
10 was the cap.
He was like, I'm just gonna do it. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
And it ended up costing them.
Yeah. But funny story though, that test plane, I had heard that when they were filming, China was was actually caught wind of this plane and thought it was a new plane, and then I guess we had to contact China and say, no, this is just part of a movie.
Good, because they were about pointing at Taiwan probably. They're like, oh, snaps. But go ahead.
Anyway, so he's a test pilot, and he gets recruited back to Top Gun to teach a special mission, and then we go from there.
But we know why he never wanted to get because if you get promoted, you're not a pilot no more. They ground you. It's a
that's
wrap.
not what he wants.
He has to fly.
He belongs to the air.
And so it was cool to see that, because he's now been a captain for 30 some years, which isn't, if you're in the military, that's not your goal. Usually you're if you're going to be in that long, it's because you're progressing up to.
He's like, I'm a dog fighter. Like, he's like, I don't want it. I want this.
Yeah.
All right, Marquez, you want to elaborate on?
Well, no, it's like you said, Top Gun again, and it's just you guys have to understand, this was really a great movie. I enjoyed it so much.
Well, tell us. That's why we're asking.
No, that's I'm in the process of doing that.
Hey, come on, Carlos, just relax.
I'm so excited too.
It's the build-up.
No, just that test jet that they were testing at first. You talk about new aircraft. That was so cool. It was such a spectacle.
It was cool.
And
Dude, it was super cool looking too, man.
And I could feel the energy from when the jet was trying to break the Mach barrier, Mach 10. And I was like, oh no, this isn't gonna end well. And it didn't. And for me,
when he hit 10,
yeah,
That's
and
when he was like, he's like, okay,
and then he just a little bit more.
yeah.
just give a little nudge.
But that's such a testament to his character. You know, like I say, excelling,
testing the boundaries,
going beyond, and he did, and he just.
I really liked there when he was doing that. Just as he's getting there, he's like, "Talk to me, Goose."
Yeah, that
just
was
like
so cool.
He,
like that
he did in the like, and knowing that still weighs on him.
And that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. Connections and bonds, that kindredness that you get when you develop a bond. You know, it never leaves. You know, even in death. And I thought that was so cool. The fact that was just a great callback. When he said that, I was like, oh, I got goosebumps. I was like,
yeah.
You know,
dude, man. Like,
it was just And then
that scene after the test plane though, when he's walking down the road,
yeah,
like,
that was pretty.
that boy.
Where am I?
I
And
felt
like,
like this one was a little funnier than the last one. Like, and maybe it's just that Tom Cruise doesn't take his characters quite as seriously.
Yeah,
Like, and every moment of a character's life, no matter how intense of a character it is, isn't intense. Like, every human being has to have a release or a normal aspect of their life.
Yeah, it seems like he's mellowed out after 30 years.
I think
he's not the big hot shot.
We thank Scientology for that. No, but
Careful,
now
trademark.
I know.
yeah. Talk
I
about
I can see him and John Travolta and Aviators coming in here right now.
yeah.
But so now let's talk a little bit about the new set of characters. So let's start off with Jennifer Connelly. What a great addition to the show. Because here's the deal. I know I'm waiting for this. Some people ask, well, where's Charlie? What happened to Charlie and why she's not in the sequel? So I'm going to leave this one to Marquez. So what happened? Why did Charlie not make it in this one?
Well, the actress that played her, what's her name, Chris?
Kelly McGillis.
Kelly McGillis. She said that she just wasn't in the shape that she felt like she should have been for a role like that. You know, I mean, and I'm being nice, her words, but she said she was just she looked every bit her age.
Which,
and
I mean, if you don't feel comfortable
I know,
putting yourself on screen, that's hard to do.
But
especially for millions to see. I mean, yeah.
Well, but aging is a part of living. You know, that's just the way. You know, I was a tad bit disappointed in that, but like I said, Jennifer
maybe
Connelly,
she feels like her character wouldn't have aged in the same way she did. I don't know.
That's a good point, but you know, like I say, still, it was just such a.
It would have been cool to see some, which I mean, they showed her in a flashback, kind of.
Yeah, in a way.
Very briefly.
Yeah, in a way,
and not really about her. She was just in the background of the flashback, but
yeah, and she was just one of the people that made Maverick who he was, you know,
which made me want. Speaking of Jennifer Connelly's Penny, made me want to know more about Penny than what they didn't really. They were like, oh, they kind of used to have something back in the day, and that was okay, but
that was a replacement. You know, they replaced.
Right, they were just trying to fill the role.
Yeah, and I thought,
it would have been nice to know more about Penny.
Okay.
Or just make it a new character that he meets at the bar when he shows up, you know?
Yeah. You know, it's like...
Or do a flashback.
And like from...
right, that shows that they met somehow, or... Yeah, that's... I was a little disappointed that her character wasn't a little more developed.
Yeah.
Because they made it such a big part of his life then throughout the movie going on.
Oh, yeah, she was retconned. She was retconned into the story.
Sure, yeah. It just seems like there was like... You wrote this for Kelly McGillis and she didn't want to do it, and you tried to make some quick changes at the end.
Yeah.
It just seemed more like we need to start seeing other people.
But what was done with it was great, and Jennifer Connelly's a beautiful actress, and it was great.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So let's talk. One of the parts. Let's real quick before we move on. When you guys talk about the test pilots, I like when. It's Ed Harris, not Morris. Ed Harris, by the way, corrections. I like the part where he's just that general. He reminded me of The Rock. Remember when he was the villain of The Rock? By the way, produced by who? Jerry Bruckheimer.
Yeah.
When he walked in was waiting for Tom Cruise and they flew off and all that.
Yeah. That was such.
You knew he was in trouble. He's like,
well, that reminded me of that first flyby in the
first,
original one.
Top
Yeah.
Gun.
And I mean, he wasn't in it, but he totally could have been in that first Top Gun. Like he was already a made actor by then, and
Oh yeah, I
surprised
mean,
that-
of course.
I'm sure they didn't plan that 30 years ahead, though.
Right? No, they didn't.
No,
But
no.
he did a great job too. In his limited role, I thought John Hamm was pretty hilarious, even though I don't think he was necessarily trying to be.
No, he.
No.
When I watched that
Well,
show, when I
just
watched him, Marquez, it reminded me of watching Mad Men, the series Mad Men. You know how
Oh,
he has that
yeah,
ego-ness,
yeah.
because he plays that. He has that same vibe. He brought that into Maverick. But I'll tell you this: if no one's seen Mad Men, he rocked it. I liked how he was inside low. He was hating on Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah.
he was hating on him. But overall, he stood out alone. And one of my favorite parts of that is fast forward. You know how you guys talked about in the first movie when they did the volleyball scene. This one they did the football.
They did a football scene.
Now in that one, I just like how again, what was he rocking?
Dog
the
fight
Aviators.
football.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
just
Well, they
he
were
just-
all rocking the aviators.
I like
think
that
that's
part.
Kind
He-
of the
he was
thing
watching
for that
them.
field of guys.
He was just
Yeah.
watching them, and I'm like, that's good. Now let's talk about a little bit about the newer characters. Now some of them are up and coming, some have already
Yeah.
been there, but I feel like Bob, Phoenix,
was great.
those
Yeah.
characters did great.
yeah,
Phoenix-
Hangman was like the
Hangman was the
The
man.
He,
Iceman.
yeah, he
Yeah.
was like the Iceman.
Yeah, he was.
He
He was
was-
a new
yeah.
Iceman.
He was
Yeah.
like he reminded me of the Jurassic World. He was that mixture of a raptor and a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Like he knew he was a
together. It was
badass,
Iceman
and he'd flaunt it, man. Like he was
Yeah.
like,
Well, it's the same thing
Okay.
Ice did.
yeah. Rooster was
Yeah.
Rooster was pretty cool.
Portrayed
I
his
really,
character really
really
well.
liked that
Yeah,
that
that
whole
was-
character, and
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
Miles Teller
yeah.
did really well with that.
And I
Well,
just,
because the
yeah.
best part I think that kind of got me going was when Rooster was singing "Great Balls of Fire" at
Yeah.
the bar.
Yeah.
Well,
I was
I
like-
mean,
I was like,
You well, and if
Okay.
everyone
Yeah.
that's seen the Top Gun movie, when they played that, automatically it's like, oh man,
Yeah.
I remember that his dad and mom played that.
but
song.
even before
Yeah.
the flashback happened.
yeah.
And
Well,
the
that's
Top-
what I was
yeah.
telling somebody about this movie is, do you have to see the original Top Gun before you watch this? No, they give you all the enough information and flashbacks to understand the relationship stuff, especially with Goose and Rooster and
They
Maverick.
do.
But there's a lot of things you would not catch, like the whole
Exactly.
flyby stuff. You'd be like, oh wow, why
or
did they do
the
that?
picture of Iceman as the fleet commander.
Yeah. That's,
Or why are you looking
the
like that?
throwback
Don't
with-
look at me
yeah.
like that.
yeah. I feel like if
It's
you
the only
if you
look I
watch
got.
Or
if
the
you-
throwback with the bike and the leather jacket
Yeah.
when he's going to Top Gun to train.
Yeah, I
Another
feel like if you
throwback.
watch Top Gun 2022, it'll make you want to go back and watch 86.
I do too. I was even
feel
telling
like that.
someone
No, I
today
agree
that
with you, Marquez.
I don't
Yeah.
think that it
Yeah.
feels like an old movie. 86.
No, it doesn't. It most movies from that era seem dated, but not that.
Right.
You know.
In Top Gun's it was just a great.
Yeah.
It was a great movie. Like,
As we said.
Maverick is amazing.
Maverick is very,
it's-
very good. Yeah.
Real quick with the comparison, like you said, Marquez. So think of it like this. Let's just throw an example movie: Terminator 2. I felt that Maverick had that same vibe because
Sure.
years of technology was different,
Yeah.
and also the second one had more. It was more in depth in the characters. It was more thrilling, and that's what I got from Maverick. And this,
Yeah, it's more like
Indeed.
you're on your.
Indeed.
You're on your.
and what Jesse was saying before, the prep work on this. So
Yeah.
you really felt you were there,
Man.
especially in the IMAX. I watched it in
Ooh,
Oklahoma.
nice.
We, it was in Tulsa. Watched the movie, and when I'm sitting there watching it, it had me on the edge of my.
Literally.
I was there. I was there, flying in those mountains.
Yeah, like when
You know,
Matt. when he,
tell me
like-
why when he did that turn, I'm over here trying to twist it. I'm like, what am I doing? So I was thinking, what's wrong with this guy?
leaning with them.
You know, or like when he's training his new recruits, and they're like, "Where's he at?" Comes right up between
Oh,
the two,
yeah.
man, just like
Yeah, that was
that was wild,
perfect.
man.
Man, that was just great.
That was one of my favorite parts too. The whole that first training session where he just
Yes,
okay, 200 push-ups a loss. Sounds good, guys.
dude.
Yeah.
You're out. You're out. You're out.
Literally
I mean, just
everybody.
You know who was comic relief was the I don't know his title or anything, but the dude that was
Gordy.
Gordy when he was counting everybody's push-ups,
And
and
like,
then he
all
was
right, guys, 1, 2, all right, let's go. Gordy he was actually a pretty good character. I take from what I gather from watching the movie that Mav and Gordy are pretty good friends.
Well, he
Yeah.
was in the
'Cause
test
he was in the
program
test
together,
program with Gordy.
and I was thinking maybe that he was from the original cast on the boat. Maybe I don't know.
I mean, it's possible
I can't remember
because
that
he
far back.
obviously knew Mav pretty well the way he was
Yeah.
talking to him.
Now let's talk a little bit about now the main. Like let's dive in a little bit quick on the characters itself. So let's start off with Rooster. you felt that he was portrayed really well. I mean, it was kind of obvious just looking at him, like,
Yeah.
man, he does look. He
Yeah,
sure
they
does
I
look
mean,
like.
Goose.
I mean,
Yeah,
not
that was-
sure does. Like he
man.
like 100%. Like I think they made it too much.
Yeah.
Like he looks just like his dad.
Yeah.
I mean, with the
So
mustache.
he couldn't go. He couldn't go on the Maury
Well,
show.
he was
and
obviously
die.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly.
You are the father.
He
Like,
definitely was
Yeah.
trying to emulate his dad.
I mean,
to an
Yeah.
extent.
I mean,
Like,
but it's like it was almost uncanny.
but I mean, his dad was his hero that he lost when he was
yeah,
little.
yeah,
So
but
I
still,
mean,
that
it
was
makes
it was
sense.
a bit too much though. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, that's a goose. Oh wait a minute, no, that's rooster.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Goose or rooster?
wrong animal.
Yeah.
yeah.
Crazy bird.
Now,
Yeah.
now also too. Let's pay homage to my favorite guy, Iceman. Val
Yeah.
Kilmer. What a great job, just going out there and betray. I mean, he had to really do much.
No.
I mean, he just literally just
can't.
kind of just.
I mean,
Well, no, I'm talking about the movie itself. He didn't have to do much.
right.
It was simple. It was
Yeah.
understood. We knew as an audience, the guys that knows about what Val Kilmer has gone through, but he served his part. I just liked
Yeah.
it. It was simple, sweet, and that
Yes.
He
relationship.
basically
that
just
they
told
had.
them, you know, like, hey man, I love you.
yeah.
I mean, it's like this. The times are changing.
And what they did with that, they basically bridged 2 generations.
Yeah.
They basically said, okay, look, I know that what you're going through, and I know, Goose, you know, how you still feel and how Rooster feels about you and stuff like that. And it was more, to me, I felt like it was more about guidance rather than governance, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because I don't think Iceman tried to govern him. He didn't order him.
He never did, no.
He never
He-
gave a straight order to Mav, even though he was technically his commanding officer. He never said, no, you are doing this. He kind of just,
It's like, are you
let it-
sure?
yeah, that's pretty much what he did, and it worked, you know.
Yeah,
And
that was pretty
I
good.
loved it, man. It was just such an emotional. When I saw him, I was like, oh, that's
Yeah, that whole scene in his office.
Oh, dude, that was.
yeah.
I,
I
almost,
know.
I mean, I had a little tear.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
when
I
they
love
hugged
tear.
her at the end.
Yeah,
And you could tell like Val Kilmer was super thankful for redoing it. Just to, I mean, he probably hasn't worked in a while, and
Well,
because
no.
he can't really speak, and they worked that in really
They
well.
used AI.
yeah.
They well, I
Oh.
mean, they worked really well with having him typing stuff out too, like having his illness be prevalent in his character storyline.
You want
Yeah.
to know what's? I actually didn't know Val Kilmer was sick until last year. Like because I was just like, oh, search him up. I'm like, oh dang. So Val
Yeah,
Kilmer,
he's
man,
been rough for a
I'm
while.
hoping for you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always going to be up there, especially playing Tombstone. Of course, he rocked it in
Tombstone was great.
Yeah.
Heat.
yeah.
Perfect.
He was one of
Heat
my
was
favorite
good,
characters
yeah.
in
Heat.
Heat, and of course, okay, we'll throw it out there. Yes,
Batman.
he's my second favorite Batman in that era.
Who's your
That was just-
first, Carlos?
Of course, I'm throwing back Michael Keaton.
Okay.
I mean, Michael Keaton, I think, is
Okay,
my
all right.
favorite as
But
well. So.
well, that's a story for another day.
Okay.
But overall, I liked how they brought in these characters to make the movie itself. So let's talk about the height scenes. Tell me the pros. Besides, we've already kind of know already what's it about, but tell me your favorite scenes that you like. What made that movie that much spectacular? I'll start this off with you, Marquez.
When Hangman saved them from that hunter killer jet. That
The fifth generation fighter?
Yeah, that 5th generation fighter.
Right? Is that
That was just, yeah. He blew up the jet and the missile that was he shot.
Yeah,
I was like,
the
oh,
missile
that's
was residual off the jet blown off. That was pretty sweet.
yeah. Because spoiler alert. I thought when that situation all took place, when Rooster went back to save Maverick, I was like, no way they all get through this.
Right.
I was
so-
thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah, and then they did, and then Hangman was like, "Yep, that's." I was like, "Oh, you."
Yeah, he was an asshole for the whole thing, and then comes in clutch right at the last minute.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, okay.
because he was ordered to stay back.
He was.
You know,
yeah.
and I was
the
wondering,
bench guy.
come on, they gotta let him go. It was like a slingshot.
I mean,
They
I
gotta-
knew.
and they let him go.
I
Oh,
figured he was like going to be like,
Yeah,
go
and
screw yourself.
that was such a clutch moment for me. You know what I mean? It's like a buzzer beater in a basketball
Yeah.
game. It was like,
Dude, that
oh man, and it was just loud, and it was just over the top. The drama. I was like, oh, that's my favorite scene by far and away.
How about you, Chris?
I think my favorite scene I was saying earlier is that scene with the where he's taking out all the students just one by one.
Okay.
I thought that was hilarious.
You got that
'Cause
killer
they were
instinct.
all-
He's got
yeah.
killer instincts.
Yeah.
They were all just super smug. Thought,
Yeah.
Thought they were top shit. And they're
Yeah,
like, oh,
this-
who's this
this
guy?
guy-
Yeah, and
this-
then it's like this old guy.
Jerry.
Yeah. That was just that was crazy.
So yeah, that was that's my favorite scene. I mean, the whole movie was fantastic, but that was my favorite scene. I think just I don't know. I like seeing smug people put in their place. I guess.
How about
Yeah,
you,
me
Jesse?
too.
I like the jet scene through the Russian, canyon
Why's it got to be Russian?
because
Oh,
it was
yeah,
in
they
Russia.
didn't know.
It could have been Iran.
They didn't
It
know.
was
It could have
in-
been.
it
It could have been
Russia.
China,
Okay.
It was in Russia.
Peru,
Um,
Chile.
It
somebody.
Was, it
Oh,
was,
oh,
it was
was
in
it?
Russia though. They went
No,
to Russia.
actually, no. They wanted it. They took the bases off of Iran.
Oh.
So they wanted to do that Mount. You can't use that because that was during that kind of peak time when they promoted in. I did my research, and they didn't want to say. It looks like it's
specific one.
Russian because look the terrain, the fifth generation fighters, and this and that. But they
Russians
wanted to
always
make it
use-
ambiguous. They wanted to make it ambiguous because overall, even in the first movie, you don't know who was really it is. At first, you would assume it was the
'Cause
Russians, but
were
they
MiGs.
never.
I always
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they never brought it up.
Okay.
They never-
Anyway, so the canyon scene.
Okay.
You took my man.
No.
He took,
No, you
that's
both
what I
could-
wanted to say.
We
See,
both
it's-
could like it. We both did.
Okay,
like.
I'll tell you one. I'll tell you one. You ready? You ready?
What?
I'll be that guy. When Tom Cruise and Jennifer Connelly were in the room, and then the daughter, like he was trying to get out
Oh,
of
see,
and then
that
the
was
daughter
the-
was right there. That was a short, funny one. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
that
be
was funny,
different.
yeah.
Okay, because Jesse took my.
Okay.
And
Well,
that's where I saw more
That's
of
what
the
happens
humor.
when you holler at me first. So there is that.
But yeah,
we're gonna do
that's-
the twist around here.
I think that's
so.
where there's a lot of that humor that was brought into this one.
Mhm.
And I think that's a little bit of just the difference in storytelling, current modern storytelling, as opposed to in the 80s. They try to use a more well-rounded, get more emotions, and comedy's an easy one to sneak in there with just a couple of small.
But that was a good scene,
Bits.
though. I agree. I laughed. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
He just
And
thought
you-
he was being slick Rick, and was like,
But
Yeah.
overall, I like how the elements, how they were brought. So starting from the top, I like it was simple. Tom Cruise still wants to fly. He still wants to do what he wants to do. Also, you see, they brought in elements from the other Top Gun. He's still a rebel. He's a maverick. He's not going to follow the rules. Then you find he gets demoralized a little bit with Josh Am's character telling him, no, you're not going to do this.
Yeah.
And he still finds a way a little bit. Then you brought in Val Kilmer. And then you also have the new recruits. Now you have to understand he's got to be his age. He's got to be like, hey, you know what? This is the new school. I got to
Yeah.
teach him that's right. And they bonded so well. So
Yeah, they did.
It did mirror each other. Now let's talk a little bit about the cons. I'm going to start this off with you, Jesse. What was one thing that you were like, I didn't care too much for that scene? Or,
for me is the base where they go to take that F-14.
dude, I'm not going to ask you no more. Dude, get out of my head, Jesse. Can I win once?
Like just how intense it was,
Or
or
what?
It was just too easy. Like they snuck across a whole base without anybody seeing them.
below
stole
radar,
a jet.
flying below 100 feet.
But I'm like, that is not possible. Like, how does that work?
Let me interject real quick. We have one of our guys in our crew. He's in the Air Force. I asked him that same scene. I asked him, hey, so if we see for where we are, we're in Wichita, Kansas. I even asked one of my peoples here. I asked her. I said, hey, you're in the Air Force. Could you tell me? Can you this possible? Both of them looked at me, but especially Eric. Eric said, no, you won't even cross. It's not going to happen.
Like, they literally sneak
Too tight.
across the whole field. There's nobody in sight. And they walk, like, have enough time to boot up this thing, fuel it, get it going. I'm like, that is not, no, that's not going to happen in real life. Sorry.
Okay. How about you, Chris?
I don't. There wasn't a particular scene necessarily that I saw or held on to. It just wasn't. I mean, it was so good overall.
Yeah.
To me, it was. There's not anything I can. I'm not a big nitpicker, so it's hard for me to get real down on it.
Come on, Chris, give us something.
But like I said earlier, the penny thing, I thought that could have been developed a little bit more.
Okay.
So that was my only real con on it. I'm trying to. If I think of something else, I'll pipe up. But that was my biggest one. I think just the.
Okay.
How about you, Marquez?
I did not like the fact that they threw him out of the bar. It's like you are addressing a senior officer, cadet. Okay, I mean, I know you're.
But he didn't really make it known though.
Oh yeah,
they knew who he was.
Yeah,
he wasn't in
no,
uniform.
No,
or
hold on. I
anything.
realize it's supposed to be funny and stuff like that, but I just thought it was just a little. I'm like, really, guys? Do you know who this man is?
The most famous pilot at this famous school.
Yeah, and I know it's supposed to be kind of like, but for some reason it just irritated me a little bit. Like, oh, guys, no.
Well, and they were trying to kind of make a point of, oh, old man.
But he
Yeah,
still
and
whooped their
that's
butts.
Yeah.
in
They
the
did, but
training.
Yeah.
I don't feel like if you just saw a guy sitting at a bar, why are you rousing it? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. That was just that's my nitpick.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, maybe
And it's
I don't know.
for some reason I thought, no, you do not. How do you not stand in
Well,
awe of
when you're in a military bar like that, you don't know which guy is a senior officer
So
if
you-
they're out
so
of
you-
dress.
you drop the ranks
Just
at
'cause
the
you're there?
bar? You don't. There's no rank at the bar.
Right.
Is that how that works?
I don't think so.
But-
I think
Yeah,
if
yeah.
someone says
Because I
they
don't
may be
think
out of uniform, but if they say
he-
son,
better
I am-
not say.
he wasn't in uniform though, so they didn't know who he was. Essentially,
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a good point there. I mean, that's
Yeah, you-
that's
It was
just
just
something
odd. It
that
was
was kind
odd
of
for sure.
was
Yeah, I
kind
was
of a little
like,
bit
what?
off.
I was
But
like, no.
indeed, I want to say it where Jesse left off. To me, it's like, okay, I'm not no military tactician, but it still didn't make sense to me. It's like, okay, you got shot down. If the enemy knows you got shot down, they're gonna put all their resources to go get you. Look at
Yeah.
history and time. I mean, going back to the wars and today, they see
Yeah.
you get shot down, they're gonna go after you. Your prize, and that didn't happen. You didn't see no
one helicopter.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they weren't even close to the airfield. Like they were, like he got shot down. Like it looked like good.
Right. They
good
well, I mean, they
distance
were in pretty
away.
good shape.
Yeah.
And he
that's true.
ran pretty
Well,
quick
like,
to
like
roosters.
not a
but-
Naruto running.
not according to like the movie Behind Enemy Lines. Owen
Oh,
Wilson,
yeah.
when they got shot down, they got shot down. And
Yeah.
they got captured. But in this one, it was kind of like, that's the part I'd be like, no, that didn't seem convincing. But it's
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, that's big
the
Hollywood.
whole movie
Yeah.
itself, it overweighs that little scene.
Oh,
so,
easily.
So all right, let's do it. This
Easily.
is
Yeah,
it.
it was a great movie.
Man.
Now we're gonna go ahead and Jesse, go ahead, give that intro again on our review scenes.
So this will be a J&C's Silver Star review.
All right,
Nice.
we're gonna have an intro thing for it. We're gonna work.
Boom,
We're gonna
boom.
work it out.
Yeah.
So Marquez, I'm gonna give it to you. How many stars are you giving it?
Easily 4 stars.
Yeah, I'm going 4 stars. For me, it's someone asked me at the theater which one I thought was better, and I had to think for a while. And for me, even though it's 4 stars, same as I gave the original Top Gun, I'm going to say this one was just a slightly lower than the original for me. But both 4 stars. It was a great nostalgia. Great. I mean, they
Yes.
just did a fantastic job, I thought, and love the fighter jet flying.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't like that one scene, I mean, this is probably one of the best movies I've seen in years. To be
Yeah.
honest, kept me on the edge of my seat, the whole entire time. Going 4 stars.
Well, and you can see one of the things I loved was seeing Cruise's face, because now that he's a little older, I mean, even though he's in fit shape, there's still wrinkles and stuff that appear when you get in
Oh,
your
yeah.
upper 50s and stuff.
Oh yeah,
And you can
yeah.
see those G's. Like he was, like you can tell the difference between someone flying in a studio and pulling real G's in their, their
Yes.
eyelids going up and down as they switch, directions and stuff.
Yeah,
like
dude,
you could tell that there was some real G's in, like you're saying,
Yeah.
front edge of your seat.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah, it was wild, man. I'm telling you that.
Yeah.
Hands down, 4 stars.
Yeah.
The movie was great. The ambiance, the atmosphere, everything was
Yeah, man,
how
it
I
was
wanted it to be, and it was
yeah.
so well worth the wait. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
4 stars. So in conclusion, here we just want to say that this is it, you guys. All you have to do is like, subscribe, tell us what movie you want us to do a review on, and we're going to give away the tickets. So we're going to promote a little bit of the Jurassic Park, but in July we will do a special edition for Thor. So before we go, any shout outs, Marquez?
Thank you all for watching or listening. I'm sorry. Yeah.
listening and watching, I think, is good. Both.
Okay.
They're doing both. Depends on their method, right?
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to all our listeners as well, and the guys behind the stage, or behind the scenes,
Yeah.
Eric and Powell, and everyone else out there helping us out.
Just want to give a shout to everybody out there in interwebs land. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you.
All right, I have kind of a list, but I'll try to make it as fast as possible here. So first of all, I want to thank you guys for being here. I'm glad we're back, you guys. This is it. I know it's been a while. They've been asking, hey, when you guys going to do a movie review? We did it, you guys. We heard you. We did it. So it's here. Of course, I always thank my good friend Eric in the back. And, pal, thank you for doing the things that you do. I really appreciate it. But let's go ahead and just quick shout-outs here. So I want to, first of all, say hi, hello, and thank you to Jess and her group of the 138th Fighter Wing. Right now, they are stationed in Germany right now, making sure the planes are good out there. So from here of Silver Cosmo Movie Reviews, we want to say thank you and appreciate you guys are tuning in. So very much thank you. Also to our friends also at Genesis Health Clubs, thank you guys for tuning in. That's much appreciated. Also, I want to thank the friends and family. Always a blessing to have you guys. And thanks, you guys, for making it happen. So tune into the next episode, and we will be here to give you the best reviews as possible. We're out.
Later.
Love you guys.